I don't believe people can fall out of love. Now wait, let me explain.
Considered the greatest spitting. I tell them I'm Christ-like, they envision modern Christian. Tell them I'm nothing like check conditions of how I'm living. I preach Christ, we ain't fake delivering. Listen, Candyman, soon as they. It's not about how much Bible chapter and verse you know. It's about how much Bible you willing to obey.
There's a lot of podcasters popping up, so-called relationship gurus and, red pillars and sisterhood, and everybody is giving advice on relationships nowadays. But it's one thing that I'm noticing about a lot of these so-called relationship gurus. It's one thing I'm noticing. A lot of them is not even married. A lot of them is not even in committed relationships. And that's what's blowing my mind about a lot of these so-called gurus. They have all this knowledge, they have all this relationship advice, but it's not being applied to their own life. So that throw up a red flag for me when it comes to a lot of these relationship, gurus and all these podcasters that's coming up talking about relationships now. Now with divorce rates climbing and is at its all-time high, relationships failing and all that stuff, I was curious to why so many people was getting divorced and leaving relationships and talking about how they are good being single, which is cool. If you good being single, do you. Now, according to Forbes, the lead cause of divorce is the lack of family support, which is at like 43%. I'm like, the lack of support? The lack of family support, what does that technically mean? So after doing some, research, it's just a fancy word for, or a legal term to just saying I fell out of love. That's all it is. It's just a fancy legal term to say you fell out of love. Now, before I get into what I'm about to say, I got to make this disclosure because I know a lot of y'all gonna get all crazy on me. I'm focused on the lead causes of divorce. I totally understand people get divorced for many other reasons, such as abuse, addiction, infidelity, and all that stuff, financial and all that stuff. I'm just focusing on this lead cause of the no-fault divorce and why they saying a lot of people is getting divorced. And it says, according to Forbes, the lack of family support, which in other words is a legal fancy term of saying I fell out of love. That's it. Now, I don't necessarily believe that people can fall out of love. I just believe people just hit a rough patch. In my honest opinion, most people have this Cinderella, Prince Charming fictional view on marriage, which is very unfortunate for them. They have this unrealistic expectation on what they believe marriage should be. Now, a lot of people who enter into marriage live off the feeling of the high of the honeymoon stage. They live off the high and the feeling that the honeymoon stage is going to last forever. But what y'all fail to realize that eventually everything dies down. Every high dies down. And that honeymoon stage eventually start dying down, and now you're back to reality. And like most addictions, people want to chase that high. They want to continue to chase that high because they in love with that feeling. And that's what a lot of people do in marriage. They do the same thing, unfortunately, a lot of drug addicts do. They on that high of the honeymoon and they want to continue to chase that. And unfortunately, that honeymoon stage is a high that you can never get again. It's a moment. You're never going to get that again. So knowing that you're not going to get that again, what can you do? I'm going to tell you what you can do. Take your love, take your marriage from glory to glory. Glory is a high that keeps on giving, but glory to glory is going to take work. Experts say that if you work out, you should change your exercise regimen at least 6 to 8 weeks at a time. They say it's okay to do the same routine for at least 6 to 8 weeks, but once you get around that 6 to 8 week period, it's time to switch it up. Now, here's the reason why they tell you it's time to switch it up. because you don't want your body to get in a routine and then at some point you stop growing. They call that plateau. You stop growing, you stop experiencing change, your body remains the same. And what typically happens is a lot of people end up leaving the gym. They stop working out because they plateau. You won't experience growth, you won't experience change when you plateau. And like I just said, unfortunately, that's the reason why a lot of people stop going to the gym. They stop experiencing change. They haven't experienced growth in a while. And guess what? That same thing happens in relationships and in marriages. People plateau. People get to a point where they don't see no change. It's because you got so consumed with doing the same regimen that you got, y'all stayed there. And now, a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of people think that they may not be in love no more, or the relationship is dead, you're bored, all the stuff that they say, they plateaued. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your relationship is over. Now, I'm no relationship guru. I ain't trying to be no relationship expert. However, I did experience in my own personal life that plateau in my own marriage, which qualifies me out of experience to talk about this very thing. Now, typically, when you plateau, you have to shock your body, meaning you have to do more challenging exercises to get the results you're looking for. Now, in the same way, when you feel like your marriage is done, or you may feel like you fell out of love, you have to do the same thing you would do if you was in a gym. You have to shock your marriage. You have to do more challenging exercise to get the results you're looking for out of your marriage, out of your relationship, out of your spouse. And guess what? The results is not going to come overnight. It's going to take routine. It's going to take consistency. You have to be committed to getting the results you're looking for, because it's going to be challenging. It's just like I said, going to the gym, you're going to have to put more weights on there, and you're going to be lifting more weight, and it's going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy. But in order from going to glory, from the honeymoon stage to death do us part, it's going to take consistency. It's going to take reinventing your love that y'all once had when you walked down the aisle and said, I do. And that's why I believe people can't fall out of love, because you can go back to that moment when you love that person so much. When you walk down the aisle, you was crying, you was full of emotions. That love is still there. It's just that after that honeymoon stage, y'all plateaued, life got in the way, reality got in the way, and y'all didn't reinvent yourselves. That's a lot of time, that's what happened. Like I said, I'm not talking about aside from abuse and infidelity and all that other stuff. I'm talking about when people just say, I'm just out of love and we just need to move on. I don't believe people fall out of love. That's why I say that. People don't fall out of love. Most people, love just plateaued. And what they do is they give up. Most people give up, just like they give up at the gym. They never go back to the gym. It's not that the gym failed. It's not that your marriage failed. It's the fact that y'all didn't put in the work. You didn't want to put in the work to take your relationship, to take your marriage to the next level. And now you think by divorcing your spouse, someone else is going to be able to take you to that level that you feel like you deserve to be. I'm gonna tell you what a lot of y'all is trying to do. What y'all trying to do is relive that honeymoon experience. Listen here, relationships take work. Working at, true love takes work. And if you're not willing to put in the work, you're going to plateau. You're going to find yourself going from one so-called love experience, one so-called honeymoon experience to the next. That's all you're going to be doing. And then you're going to find yourself older, and like a lot of these podcasters are doing, complaining about men ain't this and complaining about women ain't that, and the reason why they can't find a good man or find a good woman because of this and because of that. You're going to find yourself being one of them complaining about, finding a good relationship. A lot of y'all had good relationships that you fumbled, men and women alike. And you fumbled it. And instead of taking accountability for your actions, you wanna deflect and blame it on somebody else. That's why I rock with Tyrese's ex-wife, Samantha Lee. I know she be on her podcast. She say stuff that I don't necessarily agree with. But one thing I could agree with her on is how she's taking accountability and realized that she messed up. Now Tyrese is saying this all a front, and he's saying that she's fronting for the grant. She could be. I don't know, but I don't know her personally to make that judgment. I only can go off what I see her and hear her saying on social media. But if she's factual, if she's genuine about what she's saying on social media, I respect that sister. I respect her because she's taking accountability and pretty much saying, yeah, I fumbled a good man. That's what she's saying in essence. I fumbled a good man because I wasn't in my right mind. And I respect her for that. And if most people would do that, men and women would say, you know what, I fumbled. I believe that on the other side of that, there will be redemption. You will find true love again. You know what I mean? But man, that's all I got to say, man. I thank y'all for rocking out with me. Y'all already know who it is. It's your boy Reese Johnson. This is the Gutta And Saved podcast. Do something for the podcast today. Y'all see the merch down there. Y'all can go cop up this Vintage Saint hoodie, heavily minded. We got the Gutta And Saved collection. We got the Saint Depot collection. We got some dope hats. We got some dope hoodies, sweatshirts, and all that, man. Do something for the podcast and support, and I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Peace.
Gutta And Saved, check. Spiritually, I'm Christ-like. Lyrically, feel like money made on fight night. Me and me, I was slaying through it from fright night. Like my dad, I need stone pads when I write. Yeah. It's not about how much Bible chapter and verse you know. It's about how much Bible you willing to obey.